Axe is a hero that disappeared for a while after the nerfs to Dragon Creep Waves, but out of nowhere, players like Zai and Forev are having huge success with him. We're here to understand what happened and how to get MMR from it. If we look into Dota 2 Pro Tracker, the stats from the hero Axe are quite mediocre, 48% win rate with a small pick rate. When we look into how Zai and Forev are playing though, we can see a totally different picture. Really high win rates, and it is clear how their playstyle is different from how other Axes are playing just when you look at their items. They get Trankles and Veil every single game, instead of the very popular Phase Boots Blink or Phase Boots Blade Mail first. Wait, you're telling me that these two players are not rushing Blink or Vanguard or Blade Mail and they're winning games with Axe? That makes no sense, Bowie. I even tried Meteor Hammer Phoenix as you said last time, but no, this is stupid. There's no way a build like this is ever going to work on my 2K games, and I think I would just rather rush Midas on my Axe, okay? Alright, let's try and understand why Veil and Tranquil Boots is so good. Before this patch, the other course of action available for Axe was usually Bracer and Phase Boots, and that costs 400 gold less. But you're getting less stats from it, you're getting less HP regen, you're getting no mana regen, and on top of that, the Veil active is insane. It doesn't only amplify magic damage anymore, meaning your W and your counter helix gets amped up, which is great for Axe, since he wants people to be low HP in the first place, and now your entire team is doing more damage for that to happen. Because you're not cutting waves the entire time anymore, Zai and Forev are naturally getting more points in W, meaning you can do a ton of damage with this build, considering the cooldown drops so much. You also farm your Blink faster because you never have to go back base by backpacking your Tranquil Boots after fights and stuff like that. While you can still rush Blink on Axe in games where you have an Invoker Sunstrike or Ancient Apparition to help you get kills, in this new meta where games are slower, it's always good to have an intermediary item before Blink. Not only you're gonna have more levels when you start engaging and does more disable time and damage to get Culling Blade kills, but you're also going to be tankier to survive the first engagement and keep scaling in the game. With the new changes to Culling Blade that allow you to kill targets that have 450 HP at level 18 and then 600 if you get the talent, you really don't want to be dying in the early game because this is going to hinder how fast you get there and how much you can contribute later into the game. While against some specific heroes, Blade Mail can be a better solo killing item than Veil, in general agility carries, a lot of popular meta heroes don't really care about your Blade Mail. If you gank a Doom, a Void Spirit, a Spectre, an Invoker, you're more than likely will not solo kill them. In that case then, if a lot of the popular meta heroes cannot die when you're going by yourself, Veil almost always is better because everyone that is fighting with you will do more damage and the effect is AoE, whereas Blade Mail is only useful if you hit call on a hero that has very high DPS right clicks. That's not to say Blade Mail is a bad item. You can see that in this game Zai is going for one, and very often this was the item these players would get after Blink. It's just that if you're going for one item before Blink, Veil is very often better. Not only it's cheaper, but even without Blink it's a more effective item in fight since, as we already said, you rely on hitting call on a key hero with Blade Mail, whereas Veil is always going to add something to the fight. With that out of the way, let's watch how they play Axe in lane in this new meta without dragging creeps. The main idea behind playing Axe nowadays is to use his wave clear that costs no mana to deny experience from the enemy team. The first step is to constantly harass the enemy support with Battle Hunger. Most of the support 5 heroes that are popular right now are terrible at dealing with that spell, and they will eventually die or have to go base. Once that happens, you're going to aggressively push the wave with counter helix and reach for the next one before it gets to the enemy carry tower. And then you're gonna have two options. You can farm the enemy small camp with no worries since the enemy support cannot harass you and the carry is farming creeps, or you can drag that creep wave around as you fight the enemy carry, whilst your support denies a wave in the large camp. Almost no carry in the game can deal against that. Usually when an offlaner support pulls to the large camp, the offlaner accepts the lane creeps with a smile, but Axe is a great hero at fighting in that mess because his DPS increases directly to the amount of creeps he can aggro. That's also why you want level 2 Battle Hunger at level 3 instead of counter Helix. Helix damage scales really well, but no one will right click you here if they are smart. Battle Hunger allows you to deal a ton of damage and still farm everything that you want. You probably don't want to get level 2 Battle Hunger against heroes with these spells, but Oracle is probably the only one you will encounter in the safe lane besides maybe Jugger or Slark, and usually you don't want to battle hunger the carrying lane anyway, since they can deny your right click much easily, so you probably don't have to change the skill build in your games. A lot of people have the terrible habit of jungling with Axe, and while that's something the hero can do, there's also much more potential than just jungling. In that game against the Monkey King, Zai gets a kill right before catapult time, and so he milks that advantage as much as possible. He cuts the wave as he backpacks his Tranquil Boots, and once he realizes Monkey King is TPing into the lane, he engages to make sure the tower was going to fall. Watch how he plays after that. With 3 points in Battle Hunger against a hero that cannot dispel it easily, as long as he fights away from lane creeps, he can kill anyone. This hero has a ton of DPS even pre-Veil, and all you need is a support to fight with you. In that Phantom Assassin game, Forev does the same thing Zai did, but farms the small camp at the same time since he knew no one was going to defend that tower, acquiring another super early tower. Once Veil is done, he TPs bottom, and watch how he waits for the creep to die before committing Battle Hunger. It's really important that you use this spell when the hero you're chasing can't just remove the buff by denying a creep that is low HP, and I honestly think he could have lived if he popped the Fairy Fire in the fight. Still, because of Veil, his team can clean up and they win this game really quickly. Now, a word from our sponsor D.Bowie. Do you feel terrible playing pubs recently? A lot of players just pick whatever they feel like without really following meta trends, and even when they think they know what they're doing, they could be dated by weeks when it comes to hero picks and item builds, just like Veil Axe. Patreon and YouTube members get access to a list of 25 files, just like this one, with the heroes that I consider to be S-tier dispatch. The list gets updated weekly, and on top of that, you can get a weekly 20-minute video talking about Dota trends that I had no time to make a video yet, patch analysis, and players that are spamming heroes and doing well. You can also just DM me and talk to me, which is pretty cool if you have any questions about the game. This is a great way to not feel like artisan pubs, because playing a smaller pool of great heroes will give you much more confidence, especially when I teach you when to pick them. Guys, thank you so much for watching, commenting, and subscribing. Making these videos takes a ton of work, so if you want to watch more content like this, make sure to ring that bell so you know exactly when it's coming. If you want a more premium experience than my Meta Aficionado tier on Patreon, you can DM me on Twitter to get the info about my coaching. If you want to see me play or cast Dota 2, you can follow me on Twitch. If you just got back to Dota because of COVID-19 or the Compendium, make sure to join our Discord channel. It's full of people from all over the world, and I'm sure you can find a Dota partner to make your pubs more enjoyable. And finally, if you want to support the channel, check our Patreon.